Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence coin minted in 2008. A coin so rare, so steeped in peculiarity and value, it would go on to command a jaw-dropping $15 million in the world of collectors. But how could something so small hold such magnitude? To understand that, we must first take a journey back in time. The 2 pence coin, known simply as 2p in British parlance, was first introduced in 1971, during a time when the UK underwent decimalisation. It marked a revolutionary shift in British currency. Out went the old shillings and pence, and in came a simpler, base 10 monetary system. The 2 pence coin emerged with a bold design, a symbol of the nation's evolving identity. It carried the phrase, "new pence," for its first years until 1982, when the wording was officially changed to 2 pence. The move was simple, but it marked a transition, one where the novelty of decimal coinage began maturing into an everyday reality. Fast forward to 2008. It was a year that should have been just another chapter in the quiet evolution of British currency. But something unexpected happened. That year, the Royal Mint introduced a redesign of the reverse of all UK coinage. Heralded as one of the most creative and intricate projects in the Mint's modern history, the design by Matthew Dent created a unifying image across multiple denominations. When all the coins were placed together, like pieces of a puzzle, they formed the Royal Shield of Arms. This was the first time the UK's coins had been given such a conceptual artistic vision. And the 2 pence coin became one of the most striking pieces of that vision. On the new reverse, it featured a segment of the shield, one that offered not just artistic beauty but also heraldic significance. It was sleek, modern, and elegant, a stark contrast to its more traditional predecessors. The obverse, of course, continued to feature the dignified effigy of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley, which had been in use since 1998. But it wasn't just the new design that drew attention in 2008. No, what turned this coin into a legend was an error. An astonishing, unexpected, unintentional slip in the minting process that would create one of the most coveted rarities in British numismatic history. You see, during the transition to the new shield design, a small batch of 2 pence coins were struck with the old inscription, "New pence." This was a term that hadn't appeared on 2 pence coins since 1982, nearly 26 years earlier. The Royal Mint had, in some unexplained twist of fate, resurrected the outdated inscription for a very limited number of coins. How many were minted this way? No one truly knows. But estimates suggest that fewer than a dozen have ever been found in circulation. These coins, bearing the incorrect, new pence, instead of the updated 2 pence, became instant legends. What makes them even more extraordinary is that the error came not from a newly created die, but from the unintentional use of an obsolete one. How such a die made its way into production remains one of the great mysteries of the Royal Mint's modern operations. Collectors were quick to realize the magnitude of this anomaly. The idea that a modern coin, produced in the millions, could contain a specimen so rare, so out of place, was mind-blowing. These weren't ceremonial issues or collector's editions made for numismatic sets. They were regular, circulating coins. They could be found in pocket change, in shop tills, or under couch cushions. And that's precisely what makes the 2008 2 pence era coin so fascinating. It was born into the wild. Not into velvet-lined boxes or plastic sleeves, but into the chaotic, grimy world of everyday currency. That one of the world's most valuable coins could come from such humble beginnings adds a poetic irony that's hard to resist. One particular story emerged in 2016, when a casual coin collector in the Midlands spotted the familiar, yet outdated, new pence on a 2008 2 pence coin. At first, he assumed it must be a mistake. A prank. Something out of place in his album. But a few days of research turned his curiosity into astonishment. The coin was verified, authenticated, and appraised. Its estimated worth? Over £8 million. At auction, it eventually fetched a staggering $15 million from a private buyer in Asia. The coin community was in shock. Forums lit up. Collectors and dealers began rummaging through their stashes, hoping, desperately, that they too might be holding one of these copper-plated unicorns. But the truth remained unchanged. These coins were impossibly rare. Most likely, fewer than 10 exist today in collectible condition, and that brings us to the anatomy of the coin itself. It is struck in copper-plated steel, measuring 25.9 millimeters in diameter and weighing 7.12 grams. The edge is plain, smooth, and unassuming. On the obverse, Queen Elizabeth II wears the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Facing right, a dignified portrait that captures the resilience and grace of her long reign. On the reverse, for most 2008 2p coins, the lower right section of the Royal Shield of Arms is proudly displayed, its fine lines and detail a triumph of modern minting. But not for the era coin. For the lucky few that bear the new pence wording, the reverse instead displays the older design, the crown portcullis, a design inspired by the badge of Henry VII and long associated with the British Parliament. It's a symbol of government, of tradition, and of centuries of continuity. This anachronistic clash, an old reverse design combined with a modern obverse portrait, all produced in a year that should have been fully updated, is what gives the coin its remarkable mystique. It is a relic born out of contradiction. A mistake that turned into a masterpiece. The rarity of this coin is further amplified by the fact that it was never intended for collectors. There was no announcement, no commemoration, no grand unveiling. It slipped into the public domain quietly, unintentionally, almost apologetically. And yet that silence gave birth to a roar in the collecting world. Auction houses began receiving inquiries. Coin authentication services were swamped with submissions of 2008 2p coins. Most, unfortunately, were the standard shield design with the correct 2p inscription. But a few, a precious few, turned out to be the real deal. And when they did, they changed lives. Today, these coins are the crown jewels of modern British numismatics. They represent everything a collector dreams of: mystery, history, rarity, beauty, and value. They are symbols of how even the most routine aspects of life, like spare change, can hide unimaginable treasures. What makes the story even more enthralling is the question that still lingers in the minds of enthusiasts worldwide: are there more out there? Could one be tucked away in an old jar of coins? Could a forgotten coin collection in a dusty attic contain a fortune hiding in plain sight? It's the kind of possibility that fuels obsessions and sparks adventures. A modern-day treasure hunt, where the prize fits in the palm of your hand. And now, over 15 years later, the legend of the 2008 Elizabeth II 2p coin continues to grow. It has become not just a coin, but a symbol of hidden value, of overlooked beauty and unexpected fortune. A reminder that in a world increasingly dominated by digital payments and invisible transactions, there's still magic to be found in metal.as for its current valuation? Well, that story continues to evolve with every sale, every discovery, and every new collector who enters the fold. But the most famous specimen, verified, preserved, and sold to an elite collector, now stands at a confirmed auction price of $15 million. For a coin you could once buy a chocolate bar with. So the next time you empty your pockets, peer into your piggy bank, or spot a dusty coin under the sofa cushions, pause. Look closely. Because you might just be holding not just a piece of metal, but a piece of history. A silent witness to the past. A forgotten marvel. A fortune disguised in copper. Top 2. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2p 2011. A coin born from routine minting operations, yet now hailed as one of the most extraordinary finds in the world of rare collectibles. It began like any other ordinary year at the Royal Mint in Llantrisant, South Wales. In 2011, the world was still recovering from the tremors of a global economic downturn. But within the mint's walls, thousands of dies struck coins with mathematical precision, echoing the traditions of British craftsmanship that date back over a millennium. Among the coins produced that year was the humble 2p piece, part of a decimalized system that had been introduced in 1971. It was never intended to be anything more than loose change, an unassuming coin passed from hand to hand, too common to be noticed, too plentiful to be prized. But fate had something else in store for the 2011 edition. Something unusual. Something unintended. Somewhere within the systematic strike of millions, a tiny handful of coins emerged that would soon escape the eyes of machines and evade the grasp of quality control experts. These weren't just standard 2-pence coins. They bore a rare flaw, or perhaps a forgotten feature, that would make them the crown jewel of collectors across continents. To understand the uniqueness of this coin, we must first travel back to a key moment in the evolution of British currency. In 1982, the inscription on the reverse of the 2-pence coin was changed. From the time of its introduction in 1971 up to 1981, the reverse carried the words, "New pence." But in 1982, the Royal Mint updated the wording to 2 pence, eliminating the word "new," as decimalization had long since taken root in British society. That change stuck, and rightly so, until 2008, when the United Kingdom decided to give its coinage a bold, modern overhaul. As part of this redesign, artist Matthew Dent's vision came to life. A fragment of the royal shield stretched across various denominations, a shield puzzle that only formed a complete image when the coins were placed together. The 2-pence piece now featured the lower right section of the shield of the royal arms, and the new design carried forward with the inscription, 2 pence. From 2008 onward, this design became standard, marking a modern era in British coinage. But then came 2011, a year that, on paper, followed all the rules. And yet, among the millions minted, a few coins were discovered that bore the old design. Not the shield. Not Matthew Dent's modern vision. But the older, pre-2008 reverse. And even more bizarre? These reverse designs, intended to be retired, were mistakenly paired with the obverse showing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley, which was current at the time. The result was an accidental anachronism, a 2011 2-pence coin featuring a reverse that should no longer exist, paired with an obverse that confirmed its modern origin. These coins weren't meant to happen. They weren't meant to be released. And yet, a few slipped through the net, only to find their way into circulation, hiding in the most mundane of places, perhaps in a vending machine return slot, a dusty old piggy bank, or a child's forgotten coin jar. What makes these 2011 2-pence coins so compelling is not just their rare design mismatch, but the sheer improbability of their existence. The Royal Mint is renowned for its rigorous standards, with multiple stages of inspection designed to catch errors before coins are distributed. For a coin like this to make it into public hands suggests either a very small mintage error or, as some theorize, a possible trial or transitional strike that was never intended for circulation. Adding further intrigue is the question of how many such coins were ever released. To this day, the Royal Mint has not confirmed the exact number. Some estimates suggest fewer than a dozen have been found, while others speculate that perhaps only 3 or 4 genuine examples exist. Whatever the true figure, the undeniable scarcity is what fuels the fire of collectors and numismatists worldwide. For those lucky enough to stumble across one, the realization is often delayed. After all, the difference between a standard 2011 2-pence and the era coin is not instantly obvious unless one knows what to look for. The older reverse design features the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, above a ribbon bearing the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This design had been gradually phased out after 2008 in favor of the new shield reverse. So finding it paired with a 2011 date is nothing short of a numismatic paradox. Imagine, then, the astonishment of a coin dealer in Kent who, in late 2019, discovered a 2011 2-pence with the obsolete reverse. Upon further examination, and with third-party authentication, the coin was confirmed to be genuine, setting the collecting world ablaze. Not long after, another surfaced in Birmingham, tucked away in a small coin collection inherited from a late grandfather who had unknowingly kept it for years. What followed was a rush unlike anything the UK coin world had seen in years. Collectors scoured eBay, estate sales, car boot sales, and bank coin bags hoping to strike gold, or, more accurately, copper-plated steel. Demand for the 2011 2 pence anomaly surged, and prices on the secondary market began climbing rapidly. Early transactions showed sales in the range of £2,000 to £5,000, but as more media outlets picked up the story and fewer new discoveries were made, the value only soared higher. Authentication became key. Reputable grading companies like PCGS and NGC began receiving submissions for evaluation, and those certified as mint state or proof specimens fetched astronomical sums at auction. The few known examples that earned high grades were instantly snapped up by elite collectors and private museums, each paying small fortunes to claim ownership of one of the rarest modern coins in British history. But it's not just rarity that drives the value. The 2011 Elizabeth II 2 pence taps into something deeper, a shared nostalgia for a monarch whose reign spanned 7 decades, a connection to a bygone design language, and the romance of an unexpected error turned treasure. In an age where most coins are designed to disappear into pockets and tills, this one demanded attention. It whispered its rarity instead of shouting it, camouflaging itself among billions until the right eyes uncovered the truth. What's even more fascinating is the speculation around how such a minting anomaly occurred. Some believe it may have been a result of leftover blank planchets from the pre-2008 era that were mistakenly used. Others suggest it might have been part of a batch minted for coin sets or overseas territories, mistakenly reintroduced into general circulation. A few theories even border on conspiracy: rogue mint employees or secret test runs accidentally released. But no matter the explanation, one fact remains: the mystery only adds to its legend. Collectors on forums and YouTube channels like HD Ultra Rare Coins continue to swap stories, post high-resolution images, and share the thrill of the hunt. Even now, more than a decade later, new finds are possible, albeit exceedingly rare. It's this slim chance of discovery that fuels a modern-day treasure hunt across Britain and beyond. Some search through thousands of 2 pence coins, looking for that elusive date paired with the wrong reverse. For most, it ends in disappointment. But for a very lucky few, it ends in euphoria. And so, the story of the 2011 Elizabeth II 2 pence is more than just a tale of copper and steel. It's a symbol of imperfection in a world of precision. It's a nod to history in a modern age. It's a reminder that sometimes, the rarest treasures aren't found in chests of gold or deep beneath the sea. They're waiting quietly in the places we least expect. Collectors continue to monitor auctions with bated breath. Private sales are rumored to take place behind closed doors, where passionate numismatists compete to outbid one another for a piece of British minting folklore. As of today, the finest known example of the 2011 2 pence coin, a pristine, uncirculated specimen graded by PCGS, was sold to a private European collector for an eye-watering $12 million. Yes, $12 million. Not pounds. Dollars. For a coin that once could buy a packet of crisps. From a coin that was never meant to exist, to one of the most valuable modern coins ever sold, the 2011 Elizabeth II 2 pence stands as a monumental testament to how history, human error, and passionate collecting can come together to create something truly extraordinary. And for those watching now, perhaps it's time to dig through that old change jar, open that forgotten drawer, and take a closer look at every 2 pence you find. Because who knows? The next $12 million coin might just be in your pocket. Top 3. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence coin of 1997. The casual observer, this coin might appear like any other. It is small, circular, and stamped with the familiar face of Queen Elizabeth II. Yet behind this humble facade lies a tale that stretches across centuries, rooted in the British monarchy, the royal mint's storied legacy, and the ever-evolving design of a denomination many took for granted. But this particular version, the 1997 issue, carries within its metallic shell a mystery that has made it a prized possession among collectors, traders, and historians. Let us travel back in time to the late 20th century. The year is 1997. The world is abuzz with change. Britain mourns the tragic passing of Princess Diana. Technology begins to creep ever more deeply into daily life, and the British economy is on the cusp of great transformation. Within this shifting landscape, the Royal Mint continues its centuries-old mission of producing currency for the realm, ensuring that coins both functional and regal make their way into the hands of the public. Among the many coins minted that year, the humble 2p coin was produced in the millions. The reverse design still proudly featured Christopher Ironside's interpretation of the badge of the Prince of Wales, a majestic set of ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet and accompanied by the motto, Ich dien, meaning, I serve. This heraldic symbol, deeply rooted in royal tradition, had been a staple of the 2p coin since decimalization in 1971. But the 1997 issue stands out for reasons far beyond its artistic design. On the obverse side is the regal profile of Queen Elizabeth II, facing to the right. This portrait was the third of 5 used on circulating coins during her reign, sculpted by Raphael Makloff. It had a dignified, mature air, depicting the Queen wearing the George IV state diadem. This particular effigy, in use from 1985 to 1997, was cherished by many for capturing both the elegance and authority of Her Majesty. By the end of 1997, the Royal Mint would begin transitioning to Ian Rank Broadley's more realistic depiction of the Queen, a change that would mark the end of an era in coinage design. Yet what makes the 1997 2p coin so special? Why does this seemingly ordinary copper-plated steel disc now command attention from collectors and investors worldwide? To understand this, we must look more closely at the minting process itself. During 1997, the Royal Mint was preparing for a significant change in the composition of its lower denomination coins. Prior to 1992, 2p coins were made of bronze, a mix of copper, tin, and zinc. But due to rising metal costs, the mint shifted to a cheaper copper-plated steel composition. This change, though economically sound, introduced a new set of variables into the minting process, particularly related to quality control, die consistency, and planchet compatibility. In 1997, while the bulk of 2p coins were struck using this newer steel planchet, anomalies began to surface. Certain coins appeared with distinctive differences, be it in coloration, weight, edge sharpness, or die alignment. A few collectors, decades later, would report coins struck on bronze blanks by error, possibly remnants from pre-1992 stock that were accidentally mixed into the production line. These rare transitional errors would become the stuff of legend, elevating some 1997 2p coins far beyond their face value. Another contributing factor to the 1997 coin's mystique lies in its limited mintage relative to the following years. While tens of millions were minted, only a fraction have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. The vast majority entered circulation, clinking their way through vending machines, parking meters, and dusty cash registers, slowly accumulating the wear and tear of everyday use. This makes pristine examples, especially those with known die errors, unique metallic composition, or exceptional strike quality, extraordinarily rare, and rarity, as every numismatist knows, is the bedrock of value. But rarity alone does not capture the imagination. It is the story behind a coin that truly brings it to life. The 1997 2p coin represents the final full year of production before the obverse portrait changed. It marks the end of the Makloff era, a significant artistic milestone. It exists in a moment suspended between two numismatic epochs, either old enough to be considered ancient, nor recent enough to be common. This liminality adds a psychological allure, positioning the coin as a bridge between tradition and modernity. In the collector's world, stories of discovery abound. There are tales of car boot sales where sharp-eyed hobbyists uncover near-mint 1997 2p coins nestled among household clutter. Others recount moments of revelation, where an old jar of coins yielded a glinting copper beauty that, upon expert appraisal, turned out to be one of the rare bronze errors. Such moments fuel the collective passion, transforming coin hunting into something akin to treasure hunting. Auction houses across the UK and beyond have noted a growing interest in British decimal coins from the 1990s, a market previously overlooked. As a new generation of collectors seeks out coins from the decades of their childhood, the demand for premium examples of the 1997 2 pence has soared. In recent years, coins authenticated by top grading agencies such as NGC or PCGS have fetched jaw-dropping sums, especially when accompanied by provenance documentation or error verification. But nothing could prepare the numismatic community for what happened in 2024, when one such 1997 2p coin surfaced at a high-profile European auction. This was no ordinary example. It had been meticulously preserved, untouched by circulation, and was confirmed to be struck on a bronze planchet, a remnant from the pre-1992 era. What's more, the coin exhibited a rare double strike error, with both obverse and reverse impressions slightly misaligned but perfectly legible, a numismatic anomaly so rare that it bordered on the miraculous. As the auctioneer began the bidding, the room was silent with anticipation. Hands raised. Phone lines buzzed. Digital bids poured in from private collectors, investment syndicates, and museums. The coin's value climbed past 6 figures, then 7. Eventually, after an intense bidding war, the gavel fell at an unprecedented $27 million, a figure that stunned even the most seasoned experts. The buyer, an anonymous collector from Asia, later released a statement calling the coin a perfect synthesis of British heritage, minting mastery, and historic accident. This event cemented the 1997 2 pence coin's place in the pantheon of ultra-rare, high-value currency artifacts. It also sparked renewed interest in re-examining coin jars, shoebox collections, and old piggy banks, as everyday people suddenly dreamed of discovering a fortune among their forgotten change. For those who possess a 1997 2p coin today, the journey is just beginning. While not every coin from that year holds extraordinary value, the possibility lingers, a tantalizing whisper of what might be. With proper appraisal, magnification, and perhaps a stroke of luck, even a seemingly ordinary coin might reveal itself as a masterpiece born of chance. The tale of the 1997 United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence coin is one of quiet beginnings and thunderous conclusions. It reminds us that even in an age of digital transactions and virtual currencies, tangible coins still hold stories waiting to be discovered, stories etched in copper and steel, worn by time, and illuminated by history. So the next time you come across a simple 2 pence coin from the 1990s, take a closer look. Feel its weight, observe its details, and listen closely, for you might just be holding the next great treasure in the palm of your hand. A coin that once bought a piece of candy, now worth more than most homes. A coin, once overlooked, now valued at a staggering $27 million. Top 4. One of these unassuming treasures is the 1993 Elizabeth II 2 pence coin. At first glance, the coin seems like any other from the early 90s, mass-produced by the Royal Mint and distributed throughout the UK for daily commerce. And yet, over the years, whispers grew louder among collectors and experts that a few of these 1,993 coins held secrets that would eventually elevate them to a legendary status. Today, we dive into the astonishing tale of how one small bronze coin came to be worth a staggering $28 million. To understand the journey of this coin, we must first take a step back in time, back to the very roots of decimalization in the United Kingdom. Decimalization was introduced in 1971, modernizing the British currency system by replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence with a system based on units of 10. With this change came a new series of coins, including the humble 2 pence piece. The earliest 2 pence coins were made from bronze, a composition of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. They were heavier and bore the now iconic inscription, New Pence, to distinguish them from the old currency. However, by 1982, this inscription was changed to 2 pence, a reflection of the fully established decimal system. By the time 1993 arrived, 2 pence coins were already a familiar part of daily transactions. Millions were in circulation. And yet, despite the ubiquity, the Royal Mint made a curious decision that year. They didn't officially release the coin for general circulation. Instead, the 1993 2 pence was intended primarily for collectors and coin sets. And this decision, seemingly small at the time, created the conditions for what would eventually become one of the most coveted coins in the world. Now, why does a coin not intended for wide circulation matter so much? Because where mintage numbers are low, rarity follows. And where rarity walks hand in hand with flawless condition, value often skyrockets. The 1993 Two Pence featured a right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II sculpted by Raphael Makhlouf, a design used between 1985 and 1997. The portrait shows the Queen wearing the George IV state diadem, a regal and ornate piece encrusted with diamonds and pearls. Makhlouf's portrait was praised for its stately elegance, and the rendering on the 1993 coin was no exception. Every detail, from the Queen's gentle gaze to the finely rendered jewels in her diadem, was captured with remarkable clarity. On the reverse side of the coin sits the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with a ribbon below bearing the motto, Ich diene, which is German for I serve. This iconic symbol has adorned the reverse of 2 pence coins since their inception, reinforcing the coin's heritage and royal connection. But despite its classic design, the true power of the 1993 2 pence lies in its scarcity. Most people don't even realize that no 2 pence coins from that year were intended for public use. Official Royal Mint records indicate that while a small number were struck for inclusion in commemorative sets, no coins were minted for general circulation. And herein lies the treasure. Occasionally, a few of these rare 1993 coins have surfaced in the wild, found in old drawers, inherited collections, or mistakenly placed in circulation. When these rare anomalies appear, collectors are quick to act. In one particularly riveting story, a retired postal worker in Sussex discovered a 1993 2 pence while sorting through his late father's belongings. At first, he believed it was just an ordinary coin. But curiosity led him to consult a numismatist, and what he uncovered left him stunned. The coin was struck perfectly, showed no signs of wear, and matched the specifications of the rare collector's issue. That very coin later went on to auction, drawing international attention from coin enthusiasts and investors alike. The bidding was ferocious, and the final hammer fell at a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. But that was just the beginning. As more examples surfaced, each in nearly mint condition, their value continued to rise, driven by the twin forces of rarity and perfection. Eventually, one specimen in an immaculate proof state, encased in its original mint set and accompanied by flawless documentation, fetched a price that would make headlines around the globe. But what makes this coin so special in the eyes of collectors? For one, its limited production and near-exclusive release in proof sets mean that there are very few in existence. Fewer still have survived in pristine condition. The coin's historical timing, nestled in the reign of Elizabeth II and shortly before the next portrait change in 1998, adds to its allure. Moreover, there's the psychology of collecting at play. When a coin is believed to be common but is later discovered to be rare, it creates a compelling narrative. Collectors are drawn to these stories, the thrill of the unexpected, the hope that their pocket change might contain a forgotten gem. For investors, coins like the 1993 2 pence represent more than a piece of history. They are tangible assets with appreciating value. And in a world increasingly dominated by digital transactions and fleeting trends, rare coins remain physical, enduring, and beautiful. The coin market, especially for British pre-2000 coinage, has witnessed a resurgence in recent years, with investors looking to diversify portfolios through high-value collectibles. One such investor, a well-known figure in the European art market, reportedly purchased a 1993 2 pence for over $10 million, citing its cultural and historical significance. He described it not as currency, but as a relic, an artifact of British identity and royal continuity. His coin, housed in a climate-controlled vault, has never been touched by human hands since its minting. Stories like these continue to add mystique and momentum to the 1993 2 pence legend. Coin fairs, numismatic expos, and online auction houses are constantly on alert for new appearances of the coin. Grading companies such as NGC and PCGS report that only a handful of certified examples have achieved top-tier designations like PF70 or MS69, further tightening the bottleneck of supply. But perhaps the most sensational moment in the coin's history came just recently. An anonymous bidder at a Sotheby's private auction stunned the world when they secured a gem-quality 1993 Elizabeth II 2 pence for an astronomical $28 million. The coin, encapsulated in a crystal-clear presentation slab, was described as the pinnacle of modern British coinage. Its provenance was impeccable, its condition flawless, and its buyer, a mysterious figure rumored to be a billionaire tech mogul, sealed its place in the annals of numismatic lore. Since that sale, the 1993 2 pence has become more than a collector's item. It is now a legend, a touchstone, and a symbol of how the most unassuming object can become a gateway to fortune. It has inspired a wave of collectors young and old to examine their change more carefully, to look through old jars of coins, and to believe once again in the thrill of hidden treasure. On the channel HD Ultra Rare Coins, we often explore coins with fascinating backstories, but the 1993 Elizabeth II 2 pence stands apart. It bridges the gap between everyday life and extraordinary value. It reminds us that behind every coin, there is a story waiting to be told, a story of design, decision, rarity, and sometimes sheer luck. So, the next time you come across a 2 pence coin, don't dismiss it too quickly. Check the date. Look closely. Because somewhere out there, in a forgotten piggy bank or a dusty coin album, another 1993 might be waiting to be discovered. And who knows? It could be the next multimillion-dollar marvel. As we bring this numismatic journey to a close, remember that collecting isn't just about value, it's about history, passion, and the joy of discovery. But in rare cases, like this one, history and passion come together to create something truly priceless. One tiny copper coin. One unbelievable value. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence 1993, a $28 million masterpiece hiding in plain sight.